I'm still with former Tory government Special Advisor James Price. James, before we discuss this, let's see the incident in question. This is Nigel Farage. He's not just out of shot, but he's introducing Reform UK's new prison czar, Vanessa Frake, who is a former governor of a jail, regular guest here on Talk. But here she goes. Take it away, Vanessa.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we all know what the law is. I'm not going to go back over that yet again. But to my mind, everybody who is in prison deserves to be treated with humanity and decency. And that includes female prisoners and it includes trans prisoners. You know, everything in the prison service is risk assessed. And I am sure that the prison service will tie itself up in knots over the trans issue, just like many other public sectors have. And as Nigel said earlier, you know, we are at the beginning, and that is something that we will need to...
Well, that's Vanessa Frake, the Reform UK prison czar, announcing that as far as she's concerned, trans women, in other words, blokes in dresses, should be allowed to serve their sentences in women's jails. It's like, no, Vanessa, I don't think you got the memo. Reform UK are in chaos, in turmoil about this, because they immediately had to announce this is not our policy. And frankly, I don't think it's what most people in this country want. We do not want men serving their sentences in women's jails. Reform UK, I would have thought, should stand for that, but it seems to be kind of a bit... the jury's out on that at the moment, isn't it? Extraordinary.
Yeah, it's such an unbelievable own goal. Things have been going quite well for them. Riding high in the polls still, of course. This feels like something that might have a lot of cut through on a purely political level, that this is something that's such an obvious no-brainer. Why would they go in for this kind of thing? And the good points, you know, it's good that in general that they're trying to attract people with skills and real-world understanding and knowledge of the outside world. That's a good thing. It's good that they're focusing on how important crime is as an issue and growing as an issue. And our prisons are in an almighty mess. And I think there are some interesting papers to be written and work to be done on what a future reforming government with a small r could do on it. And now on to the bad. The fact that Reform, the insurgent, you know, right-wing, common sense, tell it like it is party, are saying, well, I don't know about having, you know, chaps in women's prisons. Maybe if the experts say that it's all right. And that was the bit that really got me, Kev, where... when Farage was asked about it, he said, look, I've never personally run a prison, so I'm going to defer to the experts on this and what they tell me. I'm sorry? That sounds like something that his hated EU Commission would come out with, or with the Labour Party or something.
Exactly. Vanessa,
if a so-called expert is going to say, let's have chaps in women's prisons, we want that expertise?
Yeah, she said, Vanessa Frake, she said that those who advocated for a blanket ban on blokes serving their sentences in women's jails, in other words, trans women, if we must call them that, they're blokes in dresses, they're men, she said, have clearly never stepped foot in a prison and seen how a prison runs. I don't care. I don't care. What I know is I don't think men should serve their sentences among women, and women don't want it. It's not fair to them. We've had incidences of blokes pretending to be women serving their sentences in female jails and not only raping inmates but also wardens. This has got to stop, and Reform UK have got to get their act together. I mean, this is the party that kind of mistakenly, in my view, Farage suddenly said we might consider letting Shamima Begum back in Britain.
Didn't know that. God.
Yeah, no, he did say that. I mean, I think he sort of wound his neck in a bit afterwards. But this sort of new liberal tendency on their part, I think there's not many votes, Nigel, if you're watching. I'm sure you understand this. There's not many votes in advocating for putting blokes into women's jails, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely right. Look, I like Nigel Farage very much. I think he's been a great force for British politics for a long time, and without him, who knows if Brexit would have happened, maybe not. I think that the struggle they've got of getting decent people around him is really real. I think, you've got Zia Yusuf, the former chairman, who flounced off and then flounced back again and has said all kinds of horrendous things. And it was discovered that him or, quote, someone in his team accidentally liked a Twitter post that accused Robert Jenrick's, because Robert Jenrick was married to a Jewish person, that he was some kind of traitor or something even worse than that, some horrid anti-Semitic filth.
He liked something, said he made a mistake. It wasn't a great moment.
You've got, the Kent council leaders who've just taken over saying, please, we need loads more migration. Please don't have a cap on migration. Now you've got this prisons expert saying, let's have blokes in women's prisons. And you've got some of the other talented people at the top who are not necessarily measuring up when they need to. Richard Tice, again, someone I like quite a lot in lots of areas. He was asked about the economic policy of reform a few weeks ago, and he had to immediately pivot to talking about the woke flags at Warwickshire County Council. Like, no, we don't.
Look, we've got to finish now, James. I think their heart is in the right place. I think the top people are good people, but they have a party discipline problem, and they've got to get their act together. James, great to talk to you. We'll talk again very soon.